Good
You're a
evening.
bright person.
Good evening, Dr. Sargent.
Hey, Mary, how are you?
I'm just fine. I'm sorry I didn't speak to you.
Oh, that's fine. I saw your picture there, though. I knew you were here.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I am.
Hello. Yeah, and I see where your microphone is muted. You should have a little microphone down in the bottom left that says manage audio so you can turn the sound on.
Now, mine was up at the top. You had to tap up in the top and it came up on the line on the top.
Dr. Sargent said his is up at the top.
You tap the page and it comes up some things to choose.
Because what I'm seeing now looks like I should be able to hear you. I just hear you on the phone.
Well, mine is at the bottom left,
Ms. Pittman said hers is at the bottom left.
not the big page, but the page that you, Dr. Talbot, brought up. The one that's on top of the big page. It's down at the lower left, Nathan.
What I can do, I mean, I can hear everybody else, so I can just have you on my cell phone. I just hear you on my phone. I hear you on the cell phone.
Hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and sign everybody in, Dr. Sargent.
Okay, that's good. Very good, very good.
Let's leave your phone though.
Okay. Nathan, I thought I could unmute it, but I can't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I hear you.
You hear me?
I hear you.
He hears you through my phone.
Oh,
Yes, you hear me now?
Through the phone.
Oh.
Now I can hear him through the iPad. I can hear Nathan.
Right, but it's through my phone.
Oh, okay.
Have Smith and Powell had a good day today? Dr. Talbert?
Mr. Smith, can you hear Kyle?
Oh, is he on now? Yeah, there he is.
He is. Uh-huh.
He's muted right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did, man. We started off at 9 o'clock in Toccoa, and that's where our first student lives. And we have gone from Toccoa to Jefferson to Isla, and we ended up with 14 students today. So it was a great day, man. It was. I told Dr. Talbert, I'd love to do this as freshmen, like going out to see these kids because you get to learn a lot about them. You understand. You know, you can ride through this town all you want, but until you get on somebody's front porch and see how they really live and see the distance. I mean, good Lord, we had a girl 36 miles away from here driving every day, one way.
Wow.
It's hard to hold her accountable for tardies when that's a long drive. That's probably the longer than any teacher I have, really.
Wow.
So, but she came here. She didn't like Stevens County her 9th grade year and been here ever since. And her parents, grandparents, they were all there today and they were just ecstatic that we came out. And so success for the girl. You know, she's a senior and everything worked out great for her. It was a good move on their behalf.
That's neat. I've enjoyed keeping up with the updates.
Yeah, we've had a good run with them. Trying to keep them. I mean, it's been fun. It's been fun to see them all. I think they appreciate it.
No doubt.
Well, if everybody's ready, we'll call the meeting to order. And let's see, Kyle's going to do our invocation and pledge for us.
All right. I guess, yeah, we invocate first. Yeah, here we go. If you will, bow your heads with me. Father God, we are so thankful, Lord, just to have this beautiful day. God, as I think of Easter and the weekend that we're coming out of, it's not a coincidence that you had these terrible storms come through just last night. And then, Lord, you brought the sunshine immediately after. So if that's not a picture of what Easter is, Lord, I don't know what is. So, God, we just we pause and we are in awe of all that you've done in regards to our lives, Lord. As we discuss the school here, Father, we just we yield to your presence, and God, we ask for your guidance, your discernment, Lord. We pray that you would just help us to see hidden areas that we may not be able to see. Lord, you would help us to understand one another as we discuss the matters that are at hand here, Lord. And I just lift up, God, the students. I lift up the teachers, the administrators, Lord, the entire community, everybody that's affected by the school being shut down. And this is just our school. It's all across the nation, Lord. I just pray for healing for our land. So, Lord, we invite you here to our meeting this evening. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All right, and then we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag
to the
of
flag
the United States of
America
America.
and to the republic for which
which
it
is
stands,
States of America,
one nation,
to the republic
nation under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
Thank you, Kyle, for that. Thank you. You finished it.
Up here now.
Next, we'll need a motion for the approving the agenda.
I'll
make a motion
that
to
we approve.
Second.
So not, all right, so. Okay, Kyle and Knox got that one? Is that right? So you want to just vote where we just say aye, or, and then if somebody doesn't, let me know again. Is that okay? All right, all in favor say aye,
Aye.
and all opposed nay. Okay, very good. All right, we'll go to the superintendent now.
Okay, Okay, under business items tonight, I have invited our principals to join us just to share an update with how things are going in the schools with online learning and to review the promotion retention criteria with all of you and to answer any questions that you might have about the current situation with students learning from home. We'll start with Miss Lindsay. Miss Lindsay, can you hear me?
Can y'all hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, ma'am. If you will share an update from the primary and elementary schools, please, ma'am.
Okay, well, on Monday, we checked out over 180 devices at the primary school. We've checked out about 130 to 140 elementary schools. We have created a platform, not really a platform, but a page within our web page where all pre-K through 4 lessons can be shared. We have them shared for the week, Monday, and teachers meet with the students online during the week, and they also utilize, of course, already for online instruction. In K&1, it's a lot more teacher-led. Our parents are also reading to the kids and working with the kids online. We also, on Tuesday, followed the lunch buses to hand out work packets to the kids who might not have internet access. We did not give out as much as we hoped, but we've been able to get in touch with the families, most families who don't have internet, and gotten packets to them. There's a handful that we're still working on. Do you guys have any questions?
I didn't understand something you said. Would you repeat it? You said the teachers meet online. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. They meet usually through Zoom or Google Hangouts. They set up times where the kids can come on and they'll teach a lesson with the kids and also just help the assignments that they can do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
We really welcome any feedback that anybody has. I know some of you guys are parents, and we would love to know positive feedback, but if there's anything that's been difficult or stressful, we would love to know.
How many
I'm
minutes
sorry.
or hours a day do we let them study?
I'm sorry.
Kara, did you hear him? He said, how many minutes a day are students typically online?
They should, well, I don't know that they should be online that many minutes. Probably no more, it depends on grade level. You know, a third or fourth grader is going to be online longer than a kindergartner for sure. But I would say overall, students 2 hours or less. They really can't. I mean, you can't recreate what a kindergarten teacher does all day. So.
Ms. Lindsay, we approach the end of the school year. Do you know what you will be using for criteria to place advanced classes for next year?
Basically, I've already started looking at that, and I'm pulling every data point that I have on the kids. And I'm asking the teachers for their suggestions so I can look through and make sure we don't overlook anybody.
Kara, your connection is not good. You're kind of going in and out.
Oh, no.
Can you repeat that, please, ma'am?
Sure. I've already started looking at that, and I'm really looking at like every single data point we have. If they're in kindergarten, I've looked at all their data points. I've looked at all of their iReady data. I've looked at their guided reading level. I've asked teachers if there are other data points that we could be looking at. And I've also asked the teachers for their suggestions so that I can make sure I haven't overlooked anybody. Was that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Other questions about primary and elementary? Okay, thank you, Miss Lindsay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
we will move to Jamie Horn with the middle school update.
Thank you, Dr. Talbert. Our students are spending probably 3 hours or so on the computer as on average. Certainly nothing replaces that classroom teacher, but we're doing, all that we can to meet the needs of those students. There are many varying needs. We actually had 2 students call today to come up and pick up Chromebooks tomorrow morning. It's just, we've been out a month and now they realize that that's something they really need. Unfortunately for them, that's not their fault. They just got Wi-Fi in their home today. So that's an issue that we have to deal with and try and understand. But we're doing the iReady, math and language arts and reading. We're doing Reading 180 online. We're doing System 44 and the Math 180 for our struggling students. Trying our best to meet those needs as far as promotion. Our 3/4 of our year was complete. So we're looking at those grades, but these grades will also play into that. We just don't want anything from a month ago to the end of the year to really damage someone and keep them from being where they should have been. There are teachers that call and say, should we give a grade on this or that? And I just say, if the child was in your class, would they have done this work? And everyone says, well, absolutely. At that point, we can't really penalize them. We're not having the internet in their home. So we're looking at that. Our students are doing wonderful jobs. Our teachers are doing Zoom lesson plans. They're doing different formats of reaching out to their students. And so we're keeping close contact with them. But again, certainly nothing replaces being in this building. Yes, ma'am.
How important are the parents for middle school students who are trying to learn online?
Especially in the math and the writing, the parents are a key part of trying to assist them. But I think, some of them get frustrated at times with the math. Sometimes this Utah math is not the same as the math they did. So we do rely on our teachers a good bit to relay that teaching methods, even to the parents at times.
Would you say that parents who just don't take a great interest, for example, in their student, would that affect a lot the kind of grade they're going to come out with?
I don't know if it will affect their grade. I think it will affect more their learning as far as what they're really getting. We don't want it to penalize them for being out of the classroom, but if that parent is really not encouraging them to do what they need to do, they may not gain the actual learning that we really needed them to gain for the entire year.
Ms. Pittman, I can speak from a parent standpoint because I'm still at work every day. And so my kids are doing this online on their own. And so when I've checked on them and in the afternoons when we've talked about it, when I've gotten home, they will tell you that each teacher sets up a time that they go on Zoom like they normally would if they were meeting during the schedule, and they're still sitting in class with that teacher. So that teacher is still the one providing the instruction at the middle grades level.
Okay. And do the teachers know to whom they are teaching? I mean,
Yes, ma'am. They're seeing like this is the same format that the kids are seeing. So like when my kids log in, they're seeing the other kids that are in the class with them. With the teacher.
Wouldn't want them to be penalized because they didn't have the support they needed to do what they were supposed to do at home. But if the teacher can see them and can interact with them, she will know or he will know what they're doing.
Right. And what the principals have asked the teachers to do, if you have kids who are not logging into Zoom that you're meeting with every day, then what the teachers are doing is to call the student and find out what the issue is. And for example, where kids have siblings in the other schools, then the principals have used it to their advantage. If we're missing a first grader, then we may, when we contact the third grader, get in touch with the parent to say, we've been missing your first grader. And that's been a way to make sure that all the kids are receiving the instruction they need.
That's good. That sounds good. Looks like you got all the bases covered with that.
Anything else for Dr. Horn? Nathan said, great job, Dr. Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
All right, next we will move to Mr. Will Smith at the high school. Mr. Smith, if you want to share an update.
Yeah, I guess I'll piggyback on what what the two others have already said. We are continuously updating our system. We tried to run a traditional schedule for the first few days. We realized that most high school kids don't wake up at 7:30 and are ready to go. So over the last couple of weeks, we have now adjusted our schedule. So we run from 10 to 11, first block, and then each hour is a block for our teachers to be able to get online and communicate with their students. So from 10 to 2, the two teachers have an exact block to be on to meet with the kids via Zoom or Google Hangout. From there, our kids are normally used to doing online learning because we do our health classes online through Edgenuity. So it's not been a big transition online for the online learning. It's been more of some of our high school kids, especially our juniors and seniors that have jobs, they're working several hours a week to help out their parents. And the ones also are the parents that are essential workers. They're also home being a parent as a sibling. So we are working with them. My teachers, I feel like, are doing a great job. I feel like overall, my kids are doing a great job. We have tried to communicate with them as much as possible through I'm lucky enough at the high school, almost all of them have phones. So we're able to communicate throughout the day with them. Zoom meetings are easy to do on their phones. As far as my seniors, I was, if you weren't here earlier, we started today to go out to every one of my seniors' houses. I made it to 14 different houses today, and just to see the kids and try to get their ideas on how we're going to handle graduation and the prom and different award ceremonies and stuff like that. And so we're working on that with our kids. My main thing for the high school is keeping them up to date, and we will sometimes send out 5 to 7 remind meetings or Facebook posts to them a day, just to try to keep them maintaining. As far as the classroom goes, I feel like they're able to get material. We're definitely not penalizing them for grades or anything like that. I've attended a high school principals meeting last week with over 200 high school principals. Of course, everybody's dealing with the same issues, same questions. But I truly believe the kids will be fine academically for this. I do, I think it's because of when it happened in the school year at the high school. We normally spend our last 20 days of the school year in testing modes anyway, between EOCs, APs, and EOPAs exams. So I'm not overly worried about that. My main worry was the other side, which was getting my seniors, make sure you're getting those college applications in, getting all the FAFSA forms and everything like that. And that's why we've been going out. And our plan is to see is every senior that will sign up and go out. So if I think we've got 88 seniors, my goal is if I could have 60 sign up for that, I feel like that would be an awesome achievement to be able to actually personally talk to 60 of my seniors. So we did 14 today, and I've got 13 more tomorrow. So we're on a good start. Does anybody have any questions as far as the high school goes?
Okay, before we let the principals go, if you'll see on the agenda, we have items B, C, and D. Focuses on the promotion retention criteria at each school. Does anyone have questions about promotion retention at each school?
I don't. I did have one question, and it's kind of, I guess maybe for any principal to take and run with it. What are, counselors and non-student facing roles within our school? What are those roles? What are they doing right now?
Mine's a little easier at the high school. I don't have as many paras and anything like that. Right now, Miss Ellington, she worked all day, all week last week. She'll be in here tomorrow. She's our finance secretary. So she'll be in because we're closing out the athletic budget. I mean, we're literally closing out the athletic year here. Miss Howington, which is our front secretary, she takes all the phone calls throughout the day and directs them in the correct place. We have it, our phones are forwarded to her. Or she's checking our voicemail, I should say. Miss Scott is constantly on the phone as a counselor with our kids, just because of all the needed activities for our seniors right now. We're trying to get college applications. And Mrs. Mathis is my other one. She's in constant contact because of kids needing transcripts sent out to colleges. So as far as the high school, I don't have as many, but mine are pretty much, they've been great to work with. Everyone has accepted whatever challenge I put on them. And so far has been a needed asset up through this point.
I would just add to that from the middle school, our inclusion pairs are also sending out their lesson plans. Our counselor spent 2 days after we first started. We put a new filter on our computer system, and our counselor spent the first 2 days calling parents saying your child is on an inappropriate site, unfortunately. But we do have that filter on there now, and they understand that. It's been about 4 days. We haven't had any bad language or anything of that nature show up on our computers. Middle schoolers will try you, but I guess once they find out that, we know what you're doing, then they take other routes.
Yeah, we have also had that issue, Dr. Horn. That's a great idea. Having the counselor look after that inappropriate site, although we had some in the beginning. Can y'all hear me okay?
It goes in and out, Kara. We're going to have to talk to your internet provider.
Well, we just changed the internet providers in hopes that this would be better. Pretty much, and I hope you hear me, our special ed teachers are collaborating. If they are pushing into those just the same. Those who teach resource like reading, they have their own class that they set up and have the children come to them and give them direct instruction. Our secretaries, the funds are forwarded to them. They're still working on our financials, and just went in and helped get the office prepared for painting. Ms. Hardy, our intervention specialist, you'll see her on our website. And she is also with children. They can make appointments. Our SLP is doing the same thing. She is making appointments with the kids and working with them and pushing out work for them. Miss Oxley is working on food bags for the kids. She's also been working with PE teachers with the emotional learning curriculum that we rolled out. They have been watching a lot of Second Step, the provider, and creating lessons from.
Thank you all. That was really, that was mostly a curiosity question, honestly.
Okay, any other questions for the principals before we let them go?
No, but thank you for the report and for everything you're doing for the kids over there. Sounds like you're doing real well.
They are doing a great job.
Absolutely.
I would like to thank y'all and the teachers, administrators, and all the other staff thank y'all for the hard work that y'all are doing. I know it's a challenge for the, not only the students, but also the teachers, as this is a learning curve for all of us.
It is,
So thank y'all.
for sure. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
Thank you, principals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, y'all, we'll continue on with the business items. We looked at the promotion retention criteria for primary, elementary, middle, and high school Thursday night. Do you have any questions over any of those since you've had a chance to look at those?
No. No.
Okay. All right, moving on to item E. Item E, we have the March financial report, and we have Whitney Metzger with us. Whitney, if you can please go over revenue, expenses, and the balance sheet with us.
Yes, most definitely. You want to start with revenues? Okay. As you can see from the top of the page, the 3/4 of our fiscal year is now complete. We finished March with $13,505,147 in revenues. That represents about 80.8% of our budgeted revenues for the year. And I believe Dr. Tolbert spoke with you Thursday night about we received our midterm adjustment for our QBE state funding, and we're being held harmless for about $55,000, but we will see about a $9,000 decrease for charter and transportation funds for the rest of the year. Throughout the remainder of the year, we will continue to see TABP as well as motor vehicle taxes trickle in. Overall, we expect to meet our budgeted revenues for FY20, just looking forward of what we're going to receive for the remainder of the year. So do y'all have any questions about revenues?
Thank you, Miss Whitney.
Yes, ma'am.
Good job as always.
Now on to expenses. In regards to expenses, we ended March having spent $12,407,724. This represents 72.59% of budgeted expenditures. We expect to see this trend continue as we go forward, especially as we see a decrease in utilities, fuel costs, and other operating costs during this time. So we do hope to continue to see that downward trend in expenditures. Do y'all have any questions in regards to expenses?
How much of that is because we're not having, I know we have to pay the people who are in charge of all that, continue to pay them, but some things, it looks like the cost would go down because we're not using it.
We moved our, like all of our utilities and all that are set at the highest, just so we don't have, so we don't have mold and all, and we'll see those increases as the month comes, the decreases in expenses.
Okay, so they're going to be more instead of less.
No, I'm sorry, we'll see the decrease in those expenses because we've increased the controls. So we'll be able, and like utilities and all that, I actually track that on a month-to-month basis. So over the next couple of months, we'll be able to quantify that.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be a lot of difference? I mean, is it going down a lot or not?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure of just how much that will be, but there will be a decrease.
We've never done that before.
Right. We've never just
okay.
seen the buildings. So.
Thank you.
And in March, we ended the month with $3,366,387.37 in fund balance. So that's that is 621,000 higher than where we were last year.
Any questions about the balance sheet?
Whitney, is that due to us having less expenses right now?
We were already ahead of where we were last year. So not all of that is, no. But that definitely helps, having lower expenses for some things.
Is there a way to project that, as far as the unfortunate circumstance that we're in, is how much money that we could possibly save this budget year? Would you have that projected?
I do not exactly have that detailed out. I will definitely look at that. I think after we see this month and next month and kind of see where we're at with decreased
Right.
expenses, we can look at that going forward, because this is new.
Right. Just with I'm sure the budget crunch that we might be in next year, just curious on what our reserves would be to kind of carry us through.
That number is our fund balance.
Right.
I'm not quite exactly understanding.
I think
Just 'cause-
maybe what Knox is talking about, you know how we had projected that we would go into our fund balance with this year's budget?
Yes.
And so I think in the back of their minds, because on Thursday night, I explained to them that this could get pretty tight with the FY21 budget.
Yes.
And so maybe what I'm thinking his question might be is, or do you think that we're still going to have to go into our fund balance with this year's budget?
I do not think we're going to have to significantly go. Before the meeting, I was actually looking at where we stood in revenues, and we're going to meet or exceed that. And with us not reaching the full amount of expenses, I think we will be better off than we projected at the beginning of the year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for clearing that up, Dr. Talbot.
Sure. Okay, we'll close out of that. And Ms. Whitney, we're ready for item F, which is a look at the preliminary personnel budget for FY21.
Yes, and Dr. Tolbert said she went over and pretty in a lot of detail on Thursday night with y'all what these different lines included, and I'll be happy to do that again, or if y'all have any questions specifically. One good thing to point out is next year our portion of TRS is going down a little bit from 21.14% to 19.06%, so that definitely helps. And overall, we're looking at personnel being about $14,278,772. Do y'all have any specific questions or anything like that? I know she had mentioned kind of looking at what a daily rate might be. And I did a calculation on that today just to kind of see, and I have that estimated to be about 63 or 64,000 a day in salaries and benefits.
This is the 14,278 is a 180-day calendar.
Well, it depends on who it is. There are some people that have extended year. All that's pretty much taken into consideration for the most part.
Okay, but for
Students, it is 180 days.
Yes, for students it is.
Thank you.
Mhm. And so when Whitney's talking about that daily rate, remember on Thursday when we said, if we get word back from the state that, wow, you're going to have this amount in austerity cuts, and we have to start looking for places that we're going to cut, then one of the places that we're going to look will be, okay, how much money would we save with each furlough day? So when she says the daily rate is between $63,000 and $64,000, then we know that's the amount of money that we would save with one furlough day, just with salaries. So even with all the personnel being over $14 million, one day is still between $63,000 and $64,000. So you're not going to get millions and millions in savings by furloughing employees.
Well, that's the last thing that I would want to do.
Mhm.
We agree. Y'all have any other questions or anything specifically?
Not right now. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Whitney.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, the next item is item G. We looked at this on Thursday. This is the stimulus money that's coming from USAID. And the amount that has been, the preliminary amount that has been allocated for our school system is $296,232. And I shared with you on Thursday night, the guidance we have been given thus far and the areas where that money can be spent. And as that money is final and becomes approved by USAID, then they will send additional guidance to us. That is just the number they give us with this small amount of guidance so that we can start thinking about how that money will be used. We'll hopefully know more if the General Assembly meets at the end of May, or they're able to at least meet remotely to get us an FY21 state budget to work with, then we'll know, okay, this is what we're starting with as far as any cuts. But then what Whitney and I have talked about is we know from going through this the last time that it may not be over and done when the state gives you your first budget cuts, because what happened last time is each month you would receive additional cuts. So there's no way to say at the beginning of FY21, this is as much as the FY21 budget will be cut. Because as the state realizes what their situation is, then that's obviously passed on to the school systems. Questions about the stimulus funds?
I keep waiting on my check.
No.
It hadn't come.
Okay. All right, item H. We have the March minutes posted. Any questions about the March minutes changes?
No.
Okay. Then we are ready for consent agenda.
And would anyone like to make a motion that on the consent agenda?
A to B.
Okay, Nathan has made the motion.
A second.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any discussion about any of this? Just we're gonna, okay. All right then. Okay, let's vote then. All in favor, if you'll say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and all opposed, nay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Under superintendent's report, we have the school financials posted for each school. So you've had a chance to look at those. The high school, as Mr. Smith said, the high school financial report for the athletic side of it, that bank statement will not be ready until Wednesday of this week. And when that's ready, Stacy will send that to us. So you'll see that show up during the May board meeting. Any questions about the school financials? Okay. Next item, item B. We have the ELIS report for March of 2020. We brought forward a balance of $2,299,727.09. We had a deposit of $126,451.51. We had reinvestment of interest of $2,292.77 for an ending balance of $2,428,400 471.37.
That looks good.
It does look good, but be aware in the future that starting next month, we may start to see a decline in the ELOS deposit. We are anticipating that. We just don't know how much. One of the things I told Whitney, I had a meeting this morning with some folks from the chamber. And one of the things when the chamber said, what can we do for local governments and for the school systems? And we had encouraged the chamber to please encourage people to shop locally. We need it now more than ever. If you're getting groceries, if you can get your groceries in Jackson County, or if you're buying gas for your vehicle, if you can buy your gas in Jackson County, because remember, not only are people locally not spending, but typically ELOS is going to pick up everybody that's coming up and down I-85 through the county. And so with those numbers declining, we know that it's going to hurt us even more. Any questions about ELOS? Okay. Any need to go into executive session tonight? Personnel items have not changed. Okay,
No.
and we'll go directly, sir.
Do we need to vote on the personnel?
I'll just
Oh,
present them real quickly and then we'll be good to go. The first item under personnel is recommendation for hire. And we discussed these Thursday night. We have Deanna Shaw, Chance McClure, Sam Purcell, Andrew Tyson, Sean Kim, Cassie Jacks, and Haley Reed. All of those are recommendations for hire. Under retirement, we have Lori Martin, Mona Haynes, Jimbo Stevenson, and David Stevenson. And all of those are effective the end of this school year. And then finally, item C, we have resignations from Jamie Horn, Martha Horn, Kate Bertram, and Bobby Brooks.
okay. Would anyone make a motion then that we accept the personnel recommendations?
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel recommendations.
In a second? In a
And
second,
Nathan
okay.
seconded, yes.
Okay, very good. Any discussion? Okay, okay, all in favor then, aye, and all opposed, nay. Very good, okay.
Okay, then the next item is adjournment.
Okay,
Well, hey, before we adjourn,
We're gonna-
Dr. Talbert.
yeah, let's discuss this first, right? Just kidding, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gentleman next to the high school called again today. Apparently he's got some more trees down. Did we ever get
Please.
do we know that for sure that that's our property?
We had several trees that were down. Jason Martin had sent me several pictures. We
Okay.
even had one on the far end of the football field along the tree line. And
Okay.
so Tim Nunn is aware of the trees and he knows to cut those trees. I asked him to start with the one in Jim Tiller's yard. And my understanding is that tree was removed today.
Okay.
Jason talked with Barry Lord. Barry Lord was going to come out because even though he has the survey of the property, he still has to locate the step on the property to identify what's his and what's ours. And so that's where we are with that.
Okay. All right. I just know Jim called.
Come out.
Yeah. He sent me some pictures today. Since today.
And what I have asked Tim to do is once we identify which trees belong to the school system,
Right.
for Tim to go ahead and remove any trees that are ours, just to release us of that liability.
Liability. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mhm. Anything else? Okay.
Dr. Talbot, did we officially approve your purchase request? Do we need to make a vote on that or just?
You shouldn't need to vote because when I sent that out in the email, I had 3 approvals. And so what we do is we attach that to the purchase order for the auditors.
Okay.
And like I had said, if we had met in person, I would have had all of y'all to sign off on the purchase order. But as long as I have those approvals and I can show in the minutes that we shared the purchase order, we should be fine.
Okay. I didn't remember where we closed the loop on that.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of, do you anticipate that we're going to be doing this by using Zoom in May?
Now
Or
that
we
is
just
up to
wait?
y'all. We can continue to do this, or if you feel comfortable meeting together as a group, we can come back together as a group. I would imagine if we are still having to be socially distant in May, which, you know, we're not allowed to have school, I would imagine at least through May, we may be doing this. But my hope is at least by June, maybe we'll be somewhat back to normal. But it all depends on what happens with the virus.
Well, I heard a veterinarian today on TV, on Dr. Oz's show, who said that cats can give humans the virus and they can give each other the virus. And I said, well, whoopee. I got all these cats.
Mhm.
If you've got a cat. I mean,
And I think it's true for dogs too. I mean, you know,
yeah, they can, I don't know where they get it,
right.
but they can give it. So, you know, I don't know when we'll ever be clear of it. I don't know. Nobody else knows.
Nobody does yet, do we? Nobody knows.
Mm-mm.
Well, Lord.
Okay, anything else?
Did we move to adjourn?
We haven't.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
A second.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Oh, we got that one.
All
Okay.
opposed can stay.
That's good. Good meeting, everybody. Maybe we'll see you at school next time.
I never did see everybody.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Yep. Mary, you have to drag that with your finger back and forth, left and right, I think. To see.
That's what I was doing, but it didn't drag.
Oh,
So
oh, okay.
I can see Dr. Talbot and you, Dr.